Alright, so this video is being created to help you understand how to use the quadratic formula to solve equations where we see an x squared term. Okay, so what we're looking for is we're looking for something that looks like this, okay, which we've seen and we can factor, okay, but not every equation or not every quadratic is going to be something you can factor. And so when it's not, the quadratic formula is something we can use to solve those anyway. So the equation that you need to know is right here. It's x equals negative b plus or minus, okay, so you need to add the little minus sign there because we couldn't get that to show up when we made the worksheet. Plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. It looks really scary, but once you get the hang of it, it is not that bad. So let's give this a try, okay? Number 2 here. We have 3x squared plus 11x minus 60. So what we're looking for is the coefficients, so the numbers that are in front of each term. Okay, so A is 3, B is 11, C is negative 60. So I'm going to set this up just like the equation that was up above. Okay, so hopefully you wrote that down. If you didn't, there it is. Try writing that down. So we start out negative b. So b is 11. So if we say negative b, we need to say negative 11. Plus or minus. Okay, we'll actually do both. So plus and minus, really. Plus or minus b squared. So 11 squared minus 4, always minus 4, part of the equation, times a times c. All over 2a. So a is 3 still, so 2 times 3. Okay, so we're going to simplify some things now because this is pretty crazy. 2 times 3 on the denominator is 6. Still going to be negative 11, plus or minus square root. 11 squared, 11 times 11 is 121. Plus, now, I got ahead of myself. So I'm multiplying negative 4 times 3 times negative 60. If I take two negatives and multiply them together, that's going to turn into a positive. Okay? And then I'm taking 4 times 3, which is 12, and then 12 times 60, which is 720. So you're getting some big numbers right now. Okay? But we can add those two numbers together in our next step. So negative 11 plus or minus square root. So you're doing 121 plus 720, which is what? 841 over 6. Okay, so if you have a calculator, like mine in my classroom, to take the square root now, you're going to hit second, and then click the x squared button, then type in 841. So when you square root 841, you get 29. So this is simplified as negative 11 plus or minus 29, no longer square root, because we already took it, over 6. So now what we can do is come up with two answers. So you're going to type in negative 11 plus 29. You'll get 18 over 6, which is really just 3. And then negative 11 minus 29, which is negative 40. Which if you reduce that, it reduces to negative 6 2/3. My guess is that we will be leaving that as an improper fraction, so it would be just take negative 40 over 6 and reduce it to like negative 20 over 3 if we're planning to type those into Schoology. Okay? So that's the process. That's how we do this. Let's look at another one. Let's do one here. We have number 7. So number 7 is a little bit different, a little bit more advanced in some ways, because we don't have a 0 here on the right side. So the first thing we're going to need to do is subtract 9 from both sides to get it equal to 0. Okay, and that's not that complicated. You're going to have v squared minus v minus 42, and will equal 0 because those 0 out. So for purposes of the quadratic formula, my a is 1, my b is -1, and my c is -42. So I can say v equals 1 plus or minus -1 squared minus 4 times 1 times -42 all over 2 times 1. Okay, so I already simplified the bottom. 2 times 1 is just 2. I have 1 plus or minus 1 squared, or -1 squared is just going to be +1. Then I'm going to take -4 times 1, which is -4. And that times -42 is going to make plus 168. Okay, so some tough math here. We're adding 1 to a number. So we'll have 1 plus 168, we get 169. And if you take the square root of 169, you get 13. So that simplifies quite a bit. Now we have some numbers we can work with. So 1 plus 13 is 14 over 2. And 1 minus 13 is going to be -12 over 2. So my answers are going to end up as 7 and -6.